Right, we're visiting this afternoon with Bill Holcombe, who is the AgriLife Extension Agent for Texas A&M University here in Clay County. And Bill, Clay County is a big old county. We got lots of cows, and that means folks are probably worried about screwworms. Have you heard anything about screwworms?
Just a little bit, Judge. It's been a pretty heavy topic on my day-to-day business since they decided to cross the river in early June. But like you said, we've got anywhere between 50,000 and 60 or 65,000 head of cattle in Clay County, depending on the time of year you're asking. And we got about 11,000 people, give or take. So that does create a concern about when you've got that many cattle. It's obviously an economic importance in the county, but it's also the being able to get out and check and view and watch all those cattle, which is the biggest thing when you come to screwworm, whether you're talking about cattle, sheep, goat, horses, cats, dogs, birds, wildlife, whatever, is that observance, that awareness of the organism infesting something. The problem isn't that screwworms are going to show up and from one day to the next they're going to go on this mass killing spree. The problem is when one gets in and they infect one animal and it doesn't get caught, and then they start spreading over 7, 10 days, you can really get yourself a problem.
Well, I'm old enough to remember back in the 60s when we battled this problem, and I remember it very well. I remember a product called, I think, Smear 64 or something like that, and it was nasty. And you sure no one liked doing it. So this may be a time we have to start looking at maybe some different management practices on how to battle this situation.
Yes, sir. Growing up myself, I was born after screwworms were eradicated, but my grandparents and my dad on our family ranches had continued the winter calving that they'd had during screwworms. And so November, December, January, and even some early February, I'd be thinking some not so nice thoughts as I had to go out and check on newborn calves, especially over Christmas break where I was wanting to take it easy. Nope, you had to get out and check on them. And the reason for it was obviously they had grown up running cattle with screwworms and their pattern was established, and it's a scientific fact. You decrease your issue screwworm problems significantly if you calf in the winter months when the flies aren't active. Now, does that mean I'm telling everybody in Clay County who's got their calving operation set up just like they like it to just throw all that out the window and do whatever you can to calf in the winter? No. I mean, that's something you can consider if it's something you can do, but obviously operations is hard to change something like that. But winter calving is a definite toolbox, and like you said, different procedures. Um, Castrating animals, if you can hold off and do it during winter months. Dehorning, definitely. If you're going to dehorn, I would not definitely not do it during the summer or early spring. Um, Things like that. Something I discovered, I thought when all this was starting that rubber banding would be a safe form of castration. As it turns out, no. The wound it inflicts is maybe not as bad as other forms of castration, but it's still a vector that the screwworm can lay its eggs and get in there. And so we need to be careful we don't create any unnecessary vectors during the wrong times of the year that can cause us to have a problem. Um, Calves, umbilical cords from the afterbirth. Even the mama cows can have problems sometimes after a birth. The thing you need to be aware of is just watch those areas. Their eyes, ears, nose, head tends to be a popular area, but it's not limited to that. If you've got pets that have a collar on, make sure that collar is not too tight. It's not irritating their skin, making a sore, that type of thing. But a lot of it is just going to come down to observance and being aware. If you're looking at your animals, whether you're talking about pets or livestock, and this includes birds, I mean, a lot of people think it's just a mammal thing, but any warm-blooded animal can be a vector. And a lot of it is observance and awareness and not doing something crazy. To borrow like for from the plant side of the world, if you don't want oak wilt, you don't trim your oak trees from February to the 1st of June. And it's a similar type of thing. You just be aware, be observant, don't create any problems for yourself.
One of the things that might be different now than it was back in the 60s is the amount of wildlife, especially wild hogs and that sort of thing as well. Do you think that'll be a factor in this problem?
Yes, sir. You talked to a wildlife biologist. 100 years ago in Texas, there were less than 1 million white-tailed deer. Now there's over 5 million. It's a huge economic business for Texas. It's a huge wildlife hunting success story. But a lot of it was also attributed to the eradication of screwworms led to an explosion in the deer population. I can talk about that ourselves. Growing up, my dad complained that we had deer on the family land in Lee County, and he complained vehemently because he never saw deer there when he was growing up. And then all of a sudden, we've got deer everywhere. We can go hunting on our own property. He wouldn't have had to have a deer lease anymore. That's the kind of thing that we're concerned about. Deer are a very natural target for this, from the bucks fighting with each other. Even the scabs from velveting, loot dropping their antlers can sometimes cause problems. Obviously, the does with having their fawns can lead to infection from or infestation from the screwworm. Wild hogs, like you said, when they first talked about this, they didn't think wild hogs would be a factor. They're seeing a little bit more that they may infect wild hogs. That's not a for sure thing, but they're seeing some incidents of it. Rabbits, wildlife in general, birds can all be affected by this. And if you see a wild animal that's shaking its head, that's one of the big indicators because chances are a wild animal is going to have the infestation around its head somewhere. If they're shaking their head over and over again, or if they're just acting out of the ordinary, do not approach them. TPWD, once Texas Parks and Wildlife wants me to make very certain y'all are aware. Do not approach the animal. But if you want to, you can contact myself. You can contact Stony Newberry or some of the other game wardens in our area. They can put you in touch with who to contact, or Josh Ferguson here in Clay County. I know he's working with it as well. He can put you in touch with who to contact. Um, Pets, like I said, will be, I mean, it's awareness. It's not causing problems for yourself. Make sure they're not getting cut up or wounded. If your cat's going out and getting in a cat fight every night and coming back scarred up, if we get a screwworm infestation in Clay County, you might want to think about locking your cat up a little earlier at night because those nicks and cuts from those cat fights will get infested with screwworm just as easily. One other thing you can do, you can go to screwworm.gov, which is the big, gigantic website that has treatment options, how to treat, who to contact. It also has a link where the screwworm fly is about the size of a housefly. It's blue colored and it's got 3 stripes on it. I usually would kill a fly in my house before I noticed it was blue colored and had 3 stripes on it. But if you're a little more aware than I am sometimes, if you get a good close-up picture of the fly, there is a link on that site that you can send the fly to at AgriLife, and they will identify whether or not it is a screwworm fly for you. Um, me and you were on an update this morning that Texas,
Texas Division of Emergency Management
yes,
are
and
monitoring it, and they're watching very closely. And they did give us some numbers of kind of where we're
they
at right now.
something like checked 2,000 animals in the past week, and none of them had come back as positive. These were reports that they had received from the general public, and so they were checking that. TPWD is installing cameras at their state parks and their facilities to watch for animals that might be infested. And it's just, like I said, it's going to be a lot of observance, a lot of awareness, and please, if you find an animal that has it, call it in. Do not think to just take care of it yourself and it'll go away because there's chances are there's something else. There's more flies out there than just what's your animal. And if we don't know about it, we can't start dropping the flies to eradicate it in the area.
It's it. I don't think it's time to panic just yet, but we do need to be concerned, and we, like you say, we do need to be observant. And in the unlikely event, apparently around San Angelo is as close as they are right now, but that could change very quickly. So if you do in fact see one, we'll give Bill a call or talk to Josh Ferguson or constable or your local veterinarian would probably be a good contact also. And it's going to be inconvenient if we have to go into a quarantine, and it's going to be a problem. But in the big picture, that's the way to solve the problem.
Yes, sir. If we're in a quarantine, I mean that doesn't mean we can't move animals. That just means you need to get a hold of a vet and get inspected by the vet or Texas Animal Health Commission so they can verify that if you're moving animals out of the quarantine zone that you're not hauling something that's infested with screwworms. Like you said, we had a case up in San Angelo, which is alarming, but the good news is that case was on June 12th, and we're here a week later and we haven't had any new cases pop up. They are bombing those sterile flies out the wazoo as much as they can. And like you said, we've licked this thing before. We'll lick it again. You're not going to go outside and suddenly half your cow herd is dead overnight or something. These things take 5 to 7 days. If you're checking your animals, you're paying attention, you're going to find it before it gets to be a problem. Then we'll just have to treat it and we'll move on from there.
Absolutely, and there won't be any question about it either. The thing about this is different than I've hadn't really thought about before, but these feed on live flesh. It's not like your horn flies or heel flies. They propagate in the manure. Some of these larvicides will work for those, but a larvicide in your mineral or feed or whatever will not work on these screwworm flies, will they?
That's correct. If you go to that screwworm.org, there's a whole page of products that the USDA, FDA have approved for treatment of this animal. About approval, it means not only is it effective at a certain level to kill and prevent, it's also going to be not cause bigger problems for your animal. There's a lot of things out there in social media right now. You need to be real careful when it talks about people selling stuff that treat screwworms. Some of them may be good, but there's several of them I've seen already that are going to cause you more problems than the screwworm itself ever would. So make sure you're using something that's proven to work. There's a lot of stuff people say will work, but you test it and you give it to the animal one day and it loses 90% of its effectiveness within 24 hours. This is a different animal. This isn't like when you have all of our cow producers have probably had a mama cow that had a calf and broke its back during pregnancy or whatever, and it just lays there and you roll it over and it's got horn flies like you're talking about from where it's been laying in its own manure. That's not what we're talking about. Like you said, these are the only maggots you'll have that feed on live flesh. And I'm told that the odor is easily detectable and it's something you'll never forget. So it's not a, I'm been assured it's not a hard thing to find if you're looking for it
Right.
and you're being aware and observant. If you're hauling animals, please make sure and check them. I mean, whether we have a case of screwworm in Clay County or not, if you're hauling them out of the county, give them a good look over. Make sure you don't have anything. And if somebody's bringing them to you from out of the county, be dang sure to check them before they unload. And if if somebody's bringing one from a county that's under quarantine, make sure they've got all their paperwork that they were inspected because you don't, I mean, you let one loose, it can be a problem in a hurry.
Yeah, don't be the guy. Don't be the one that's
Sorry.
and people it makes everybody really nervous and rightfully so. The other thing that I want to talk about, I think is important, is while the screwworm is a problem as far as livestock and certainly wildlife is concerned, it has zero effect on our meat production. You can't get screwworms from eating beef, I guess is really the message.
Yes, sir. This isn't like mad cow or some of the other things we worry about with beef production. If an the it's not going to get through the food. If they send one in that for some reason had screwworm infestation, got into the meat packer, it's not going to be a problem. They're going to cut it out the same as it would be any other bad meat. It's not a food issue, it's not a health issue. It's just an animal welfare issue on that. Um, yeah, I
Well,
mean it's a thing people are worried about, but it's not a concern by any means.
certainly,
Now,
our media is doing a great job of getting information out, but sometimes they do too good a job, and really misinformation gets out, and people panic needlessly. I believe
yes, sir.
so. But it is a big deal in Clay County. Like you say, we've got more cows than people, and we kind of like it that way. So, well, any final thoughts then before we wrap up?
Just quick wrap up a few things. We focus a lot on the animals, obviously, but do be aware it's unlikely. It's not a very common thing, but it is possible for a human to get screwworm infestation. Adults and older kids, it's really not a problem because you typically figure it out pretty quick. Uh, do be careful with, they have some concerns about babies and such, but obviously you're going to be messing with and holding your baby. If you got your baby outside, just be aware of it and all that. Um, if you want more information, we've got a couple of programs coming up. Justin Hansard has a program that we've been advertising. He'll be doing virtual online, so you don't have to go to it. That'll have Ron Gill, Kevin Persilis, Sandra Swigger, and I'm blanking on the wildlife specialist, but he'll be covering the whole gamut of screwworm concerns, and it will be a really good program. It's online, it's free, you can watch it. That'll be, I believe, the 23rd. I've emailed it out. It's on the Facebook page. I believe I believe you've shared it as well, Judge. So just go look around for that, or give me a call at the office. I can give you all the information. In addition to that, there is a program that AgriLife and the state of Texas have launched and put together that is basically a whole course in screwworm information, response, treatment, all that type of stuff. You can find it on my Facebook page. I think every agent in the state of Texas has shared it. Um, you can also find it on the Screwworm .org page or .gov page. And then for those of you that are 4-H or FFA livestock showers, they will be having a program on Tuesday night at Midwestern State that will be specifically geared towards show project animals. And if you want more information on that, you can holler at you can look at it, look for it up on Facebook page. You can holler at me at the extension office here, or you can call Dwayne over at the Wichita office. He's heading that program up. And that's just another opportunity. If you've got those project animals and you're concerned, it's definitely a good program to go to. They'll have a lot of good information at it. Like you said, this isn't something to panic. Just be aware, be informed. If you have screwworm show up, call me, call Josh, call your veterinarian, get it treated, get that wound taken care of. We'll get a hold of Texas Animal Health Commission. They'll get them in and they'll uh, start bombing the area with the sterile flies so we can get rid of them. And like you said, I don't know that it's going to be an issue here. I'm crossing my fingers we don't get them. But if we do, we just need to react properly and we'll get it taken care of.
That's exactly the way it works. Education's critical in this, so I appreciate your sharing that information, the programs that you do, and certainly as things come up, you'll let us know.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Uh,
thank you.
If you want any more information, give me a holler. I've got an email list I send all this out to. We've got a Clay County AgriLife Facebook page it gets blasted onto, the A&M AgriLife page, the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension page, Texas Animal Health Commission, wherever you want to go. The information is being flooded out there. So by all means, reach out to us, holler at us, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions.
All right, very good. Bill Holcombe, County Agent for AgriLife Extension, Texas A&M University. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.